When people ask me where my story begins, I always pause. Because the truth is, it did not begin on the day my daughter-in-law asked me to leave. It did not begin on the day my son stayed quiet. It began much earlier. On a day that felt normal. My name is Bella. I am a mother. And once I believed that being a mother meant you would never truly be alone. I lived in a small quiet neighborhood where houses all looked a little alike. White fences. Neatly trimmed lawns. Mailboxes standing in straight lines like they were trained to behave. Our house sat on the corner. 2 floors. A narrow porch. A kitchen window that caught the morning light just right. I had lived there for more than 25 years. I raised my son Alex in that house. I watched him take his first steps on that living room carpet. I patched his knees when he fell in the backyard. I waited up late when he was a teenager pretending not to worry. When my husband passed away, the house became quieter. But Alex and I learned how to live inside that quiet. Every morning I woke up early. Earlier than I needed to. Old habits from years of caring for someone else never really leave you. I would put on my cardigan, the soft gray one with loose buttons, and walk into the kitchen. I made tea always the same way. Kettle first. Then the cup. Then the little pause while the water boiled. That pause was important. It gave me time to breathe. That morning the house sounded alive. I heard the shower running upstairs. The quick steps of someone moving with purpose. Alex was getting ready for work. I smiled. There was comfort in familiar sounds. I placed eggs in a pan and waited. The smell filled the kitchen slowly. I set the table, even though I already knew he wouldn't sit long. Alex came down the stairs fixing his tie. "Morning, Mom," he said, already checking his phone. "Good morning," I replied. "I made breakfast." He looked at the table, then at his watch. "Looks good," he said. "I'm running late though." That was becoming common. "That's okay," I said quickly. "Another time." He leaned down and kissed my cheek. It was quick, gentle, almost automatic. Then he was gone. The door closed. The sound echoed longer than it used to. A few minutes later, Anna came into the kitchen. She always looked put together. Even at home. Her hair neat. Her clothes clean and simple. Soft sweaters. Jeans. Nothing loud. Nothing careless. "Good morning, Bella," she said. Her voice was calm. Controlled. "Good morning," I answered. We stood there together but not together. She poured herself coffee. I stepped aside without thinking. I had learned how to make myself smaller. When Anna went upstairs to her home office, the house returned to its quiet state. I washed the dishes slowly. There was no reason to rush. No one was waiting. As I dried the last plate, my eyes fell on something on the table. An envelope. It wasn't colorful. It wasn't urgent looking. Just a plain white envelope. My name was written on it. Bella. No, Mom. No smiley face. Just my name. I picked it up and turned it over. There was no return address. My chest felt tight, though I couldn't explain why. I told myself not to be foolish. People my age learn how to ignore small feelings. We tell ourselves not to create problems where there are none. I placed the envelope on the counter, then picked it up again. In the end, I carried it to my room. My room used to be the guest room. After Alex married Anna, it slowly became just my room. Smaller. Quieter. Everything I owned fit there. A suitcase under the bed. A lamp by the window. A few framed photos. One of them was Alex as a little boy. He was laughing in that photo, his arms wrapped around my neck. I sat on the bed and looked at that picture for a long time. "That boy wouldn't hurt me," I whispered. I placed the envelope on the dresser and didn't open it. Not yet. That afternoon I tried to keep busy. I folded laundry. I watered the plants. I watched the street through the window. People came and went. Cars passed. Life continued. But something inside me stayed still. When Anna came downstairs later, she knocked gently on my door. "Bella," she said. "Yes," I replied. "Can we talk later?" she asked. "After Alex gets home?" Her smile was polite. Careful. "Of course," I said. She nodded and walked away. "After Alex gets home." Those words stayed with me. The rest of the day felt longer than usual. I made dinner, though my hands felt heavier. I kept glancing at the clock. When Alex finally returned, the house filled with sound again. His keys. His footsteps. His voice. We sat at the table together. All three of us. The food tasted the same as always. But the air felt different. No one spoke much. After dinner, Anna cleared her throat. "Bella," she said gently, "can we sit in the living room for a minute?" Alex didn't look at me. I followed them and sat on the edge of the couch. My hands rested in my lap. Anna folded her hands together. "There's something we've been meaning to talk about," she said. I felt my heart beat faster, but my face stayed calm. I had learned how to look calm. Alex stared at the floor. In that moment I understood something. Whatever was about to be said had already been decided, and the envelope on my dresser suddenly felt very heavy. We sat in the living room like strangers waiting for instructions. The lamp was on, even though it wasn't fully dark outside yet. Its yellow light made the room feel smaller, warmer, or maybe tighter. I could not tell. Alex sat on the armchair across from me. His elbows rested on his knees. His hands were clasped together, like he was holding onto something invisible. Anna sat beside him, her back straight, her legs crossed neatly at the ankles. I sat on the couch. The same couch where I had once rocked Alex to sleep when he was a baby. The same couch where we had watched movies together after my husband passed away. Not really watching, just being in the same room. Anna spoke first. "Bella," she said gently, "we've been thinking about some things." That word landed softly, but it stayed. I nodded. "All right," I said. Alex did not look up. Anna continued. "You know how busy life has become. Work, responsibilities. Everything moves so fast now." "Yes," I replied quietly. She smiled like she was trying to make this easier. "And we've been talking about what's best for everyone." Best for everyone. I felt my fingers tighten in my lap, but I didn't interrupt. "You've been very kind," Anna said. "You help around the house. You never complain. But we've noticed that things might be difficult for you here." I looked at her face, trying to understand what she meant. "Difficult how?" I asked. She paused for a moment. "Just long enough." "Well," she said, "this house has stairs. You spend a lot of time alone. Alex and I are often busy." She glanced at Alex. He nodded slightly, still not looking at me. I waited for him to say something. Anything. He didn't. Anna leaned forward a little. "We just want to make sure you're comfortable. Supported. Somewhere you don't have to worry about things." The words were soft. Almost caring. But something in my chest felt cold. "I'm comfortable here," I said. "This is my home." The room went quiet. Anna's smile didn't change, but her eyes did. "Of course," she said. "We understand that. But sometimes what feels familiar isn't always what's best in the long run." I turned to Alex. "Alex," I said. He finally looked up. "Yes, Mom." His voice sounded tired. "Is something wrong?" I asked him. He swallowed. "No. Nothing's wrong." "Then why does it feel like something already ended?" I wanted to ask, but I didn't. Anna stood up and walked toward the bookshelf. She picked up a photo frame. It was a picture of Alex and her on their wedding day. "We've been researching some options," she said, turning back toward me. "Just in case." "Options." She reached into a folder on the table. My heart skipped. She pulled out a few papers and placed them neatly in front of me. I looked down. Care homes. Assisted living. Quiet places. Clean places. I recognized the words even before reading them properly. "This doesn't mean anything has to happen right away," Anna said quickly. "It's just something to consider." I stared at the papers. "I don't need this," I said softly. Alex shifted in his seat. "Mom," he said finally. "We're just talking. Planning. Planning." I picked up one of the brochures. A smiling older woman was on the cover. She looked peaceful, surrounded by people who looked like friends. It didn't look like loneliness. But pictures never do. "Why now?" I asked. Anna answered before Alex could. "Because it's easier to plan ahead," she said. "Before things become harder." I set the brochure back down. "And what if I don't want this?" I asked. Another pause. Anna looked at Alex. Alex looked away. "Well," Anna said carefully, We just think it might be the safest option. Safest. I nodded slowly. I see, I said. My voice sounded far away to my own ears. We sat there for a few more minutes talking about nothing important. Anna explained things calmly. Alex added a few words here and there. I listened, but inside I was somewhere else. When the conversation ended, Anna stood up and said she had work to finish. Alex followed her upstairs without another word. I remained on the couch. The house felt very quiet again. Later that night I went to my room. The envelope was still on the dresser. I sat down and opened it. Inside was a letter. Typed. Neat. Formal. It talked about availability. About waiting lists. About planning ahead. At the bottom, there was a note written in Anna's handwriting. We just want what's best for you. I folded the letter and placed it back in the envelope. That night I did not sleep much. I listened to the house. The pipes. The distant sound of Alex and Anna talking upstairs. Their laughter floated down once. Soft. Private. I realized then that their life was moving forward, and mine was being quietly redirected. The next morning I woke up early again. I made tea. I sat by the window. The street looked the same as always, but I felt different. Over the next few days small things changed. Anna began mentioning the care homes more often. Casually. Over breakfast. While folding laundry. Alex remained quiet. One afternoon I overheard them talking in the kitchen. It's just temporary, Anna said. For now, Alex replied. I stepped back quietly. Temporary. That word gave me hope. And fear. A week later, Anna asked me to come with her to see one of the places. Just to look, she said. I agreed. The building was clean. Bright. Smelled like soap and flowers. The staff smiled kindly. But when we left, Anna seemed satisfied. I felt empty. That night, Alex sat beside me for the first time in days. Mom, he said, you know we love you. I looked at him. Then why does it feel like I'm already gone? I asked. He didn't answer. And in that silence I understood something painful. He had already chosen peace over truth. And soon he would choose a house without me. The house began to speak differently after that. Not with words. With pauses. I noticed it in the mornings first. The way Anna would glance at the clock when I entered the kitchen. The way Alex would lower his voice when I walked past the living room. Conversations didn't stop anymore. They simply changed shape. I told myself I was imagining it. That is what you do when you do not want to accept the truth. I still woke up early. I still made tea. I still sat by the window. But the pause while the kettle boiled felt longer now. Heavier. Like time itself was waiting for something to happen. One morning, Anna placed a small notebook on the kitchen counter. I made a list, she said lightly, as if she were talking about groceries. A list? I asked. Yes, she replied. Just some things to help organize the next few weeks. She flipped it open and pointed to a page. Appointments. Phone calls. Visits. I saw my name written neatly at the top. Bella Care Planning. I felt something tighten inside me. It's just planning, Anna said quickly, noticing my silence. No pressure. No pressure. I nodded. Alex stood near the doorway, holding his coffee. He watched us for a moment then looked away. I wanted to ask him something. I wanted to say his name the way I used to when he was young. The way that meant I needed him. But the words stayed in my chest. Later that day, Anna asked if I wanted to help her fold laundry. We stood together in the living room, folding towels in quiet rhythm. Bella, she said suddenly, do you ever feel tired? Tired. I repeated. Yes, she said. Of being alone during the day. Of climbing the stairs. Of worrying about little things. I folded a towel carefully. I've been tired before, I said. But I manage. She smiled. Of course you do. You're very strong. Strong. Sometimes people say that word when they don't want to help. I just think, she continued, that a place with people around might be good for you. Friends. Activities. I looked at her. Do you think I'm lonely here? I asked. She hesitated. I think, she said slowly, that life has changed. That night Alex came home late. I was sitting in the living room, reading a book I wasn't really reading. He sat beside me. Mom, he said. Yes. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. Is something wrong? I asked. He rubbed his hands together. Anna worries about you, he said. And you? I asked. He didn't answer right away. I just want everyone to be okay, he finally said. I nodded. That was his answer. Over the next few days I noticed small shifts. Mom, he said softly. Yes. I'm sorry, he said. For what? I asked. He swallowed. For how things are. I looked at him. Do you remember, I said, when you were afraid of the dark? He nodded. You used to come into my room and stand there, I continued. You wouldn't say anything. You just wait. He smiled faintly. And I always knew, I said, that you needed me. He looked down. I need you now, I said quietly. The room went silent. He didn't respond. A week later Anna told me the date. Next Monday, she said. We'll move your things. I nodded. The house felt lighter after that. Like it had let out a breath. On Sunday evening Alex helped me pack. He folded my clothes carefully. He didn't meet my eyes much. When we finished he sat on the floor. I didn't think it would be like this, he said. Neither did I replied. Monday morning came quickly. The suitcase stood by the door. Anna waited in the car. Alex carried my bag. I stood in the hallway and looked around one last time. The walls were the same. The floor. The light. But I no longer belonged to it. As we walked out I noticed something. The envelope was still on the dresser in my room. Unopened. I didn't go back for it. Because by then I understood. Some decisions are made long before words are spoken. And some goodbyes happen while everyone is still smiling. The care home smelled like cleaning soap and something warm I could not name. Not unpleasant. Just unfamiliar. Anna helped carry my suitcase inside. Alex followed behind us, quiet as always. The woman at the front desk smiled kindly and asked for my name. Bella, I said. She wrote it down carefully as if it mattered. That made my throat tighten. The room they gave me was the same one we had seen before. Small, clean, quiet. My suitcase looked too large beside the bed. Anna placed my clothes in the drawer. Neatly. Quickly. This will be good for you, she said, more to herself than to me. Alex stood near the door. I'll come by this weekend, he said. I nodded. I know, I replied. They didn't stay long. Anna hugged me gently. Alex hugged me longer, but his arms felt unsure. Like he was holding something fragile he didn't know how to keep. Then they were gone. The door closed softly behind them. I sat on the edge of the bed and listened. Footsteps in the hallway. A distant television. Someone coughing. This was my world now. That first night I did not sleep. The bed felt strange. The walls felt too close. Every sound was louder than it should have been. I missed the quiet of my old room. The way the house used to breathe around me. In the morning a nurse knocked on my door. Breakfast is downstairs, she said cheerfully. I followed the hallway slowly. Other residents walked beside me. Some with walkers. Some alone. Some talking to people who weren't there. We sat at long tables. No one spoke much. A woman across from me smiled. First day, she asked. Yes, I said. She nodded. It gets easier. I wasn't sure if she meant the place or the forgetting. Days passed. They all looked the same. Breakfast. Activities. Lunch. Quiet afternoons. I joined a few activities at first. Painting. Light exercises. Group talks. But I mostly watched. I watched people wait by the door for visitors who didn't come. I watched staff change shifts. I watched the clock. Alex didn't come that weekend. He called instead. I'm sorry, Mom, he said. Work got busy. That's all right, I replied. It was always all right. Anna never called. Weeks passed. I unpacked fully. I placed my photos on the small shelf. I folded my clothes neatly. I learned where the sun hit the window in the afternoon. I learned which chair in the common room was quietest. I learned how to disappear without anyone noticing. One evening, a man named George sat beside me. You waiting for someone? He asked. No, I said. He nodded. I used to wait. Gave me something to do. We sat in silence after that. One day a letter arrived. It was from Alex. Short. Polite. Careful. Hope you're settling in. Things are busy here. We'll visit soon. Soon. I folded the letter and placed it in my drawer. That night I cried for the first time since coming here. Not loudly. Not for long. Just enough to remind myself that I was still here. Months passed. My hair grew longer. My steps grew slower. I stopped waiting by the door. One afternoon Anna visited. She brought flowers. She smiled the same polite smile. "How are you?" she asked. "I'm fine," I replied. She looked around the room. "See? This was the right choice." I nodded. She stayed less than 30 minutes. Alex came the next week. He looked older. Tired. "I should have done better," he said quietly. I looked at him. "You still can," I said. He didn't answer. When he left, I watched him walk away without turning back. That night, I understood something clearly. This place had not taken me away from my family. My family had already let me go. And this was just where I landed. There is a moment in every quiet life when waiting becomes heavier than pain. I did not know when that moment arrived for me. There was no sound. No sign. It simply settled in one morning, like a thought that refused to leave. I was sitting by the window in the common room. The same chair. The same view. The same tree outside, standing alone in the yard. Its leaves had begun to change color. Autumn had arrived without asking anyone's permission. I realized I had been here long enough to watch the seasons move. That morning I did not look toward the door. I did not check the clock. I did not wonder if today was the day Alex might come. Instead I watched the tree. And for the first time since I arrived, I felt something close to peace. Not happiness. Just peace. The kind that comes when you stop expecting. Later that day, a nurse named Claire sat beside me during lunch. "You don't get many visitors," she said gently, not as a question. "No," I replied. She nodded. "You seem strong." I smiled. I learned. That afternoon, I went back to my room and opened the drawer where I kept letters. There were only a few. Alex's short notes. One birthday card from Anna. A flyer from the care home about winter activities. I held each one briefly, then placed them back. I did not feel angry. I felt clear. The next week, something unexpected happened. Alex came without calling. I was in the garden area sitting on a bench when I saw him standing near the entrance. He looked around unsure, like a guest who had arrived too late to a gathering. When he saw me, he hesitated. Then he walked over slowly. "Hi, Mom," he said. "Hi, Alex," I replied. He sat beside me. We watched the leaves fall for a moment. "I didn't know if you'd be out here," he said. "I often am," I replied. He nodded. There was a long pause. "I've been thinking," he said finally. I waited. "About everything," he added. "About how things happened." I said nothing. "You seem different," he said. "I am," I replied. He looked at me then. Really looked. "You don't ask anymore," he said. "No," I agreed. "You don't complain." "I never did." He frowned. "That's not what I meant." "I know," I said softly. He took a deep breath. "Anna and I have been arguing," he said suddenly. I turned my head slightly but did not speak. "She says we did the right thing," he continued. "That you're safe here." "And what do you say?" I asked. He hesitated. "I don't know anymore." That was the first honest thing he had said in a long time. "Do you remember," I asked, "when you moved out for college?" He smiled faintly. "You cried." "Yes," I said. "But I didn't stop you." "No," he said. "Because leaving is part of growing," I continued. "But sending someone away is different." He looked down at his hands. "I didn't think it would feel like this," he said. "Neither did I," I replied. We sat quietly. After a while he stood up. "I should go," he said. "Anna's waiting." I nodded. As he walked away, he stopped and turned back. "Mom," he said, "do you ever wish things were different?" I looked at the tree again. The leaves falling one by one. "No," I said. "I wish I had been heard." He left without another word. That night I slept deeply. No dreams. No waiting. In the days that followed, something shifted. I began joining activities again. Not to pass time but to be present. I painted landscapes. I walked with George in the mornings. I listened to other stories. Everyone here had been left in a different way. One woman's children lived too far. One man's family stopped calling. Another had no one left at all. I realized my story was not unique. It was simply quiet. Weeks later, Alex came again. This time he stayed longer. He helped me arrange my books. He asked about my days. He listened. At one point he said, "I didn't know how much you disappeared." "I didn't disappear," I replied. "I was placed." He flinched at that. "I should have said something," he said. "Yes," I replied. That night after he left, I felt tired, but not empty. A few days later, Anna came with him. She looked uncomfortable. "We wanted to talk," she said. I nodded. "We didn't realize," she began, then stopped. Alex spoke instead. "We made decisions without understanding the cost," he said. Anna looked at him. "I thought I was helping," she said. "You were helping yourself," I replied gently. She looked surprised, then ashamed. "I don't hate you," I continued. "But I won't pretend anymore." The room felt heavy. "I don't want to come back," I said calmly. Both of them looked at me. "This is my life now," I continued. "And I've learned how to live it." Alex's eyes filled with tears. "I lost you," he whispered. "You let go," I replied. That night after they left, I sat by the window again. The tree was almost bare now. Winter was coming. But for the first time I did not feel afraid of it. Because I had stopped waiting to be chosen. Winter arrived slowly that year. The kind of winter that does not announce itself with storms, but with silence. The tree outside my window stood bare now. Its branches reached into the gray sky, empty but still standing. I watched it every morning. I had learned that life does not always bloom. Sometimes it simply endures. The care home felt different after that conversation. Not because the walls changed or the people, but because I had changed. I was no longer waiting. That makes a place feel lighter, even when it isn't. Alex continued to visit. Not often. Not regularly. But more honestly. When he came, he stayed longer. He listened more. Sometimes we sat in silence together and it felt enough. Anna came only once more after that. She brought a small plant. Green. Alive. "I didn't know what else to bring," she said. "It's fine," I replied. She placed it on the windowsill, then stood awkwardly. "I'm sorry," she said finally. Not loudly. Not perfectly. But sincerely enough. I nodded. "I believe you." That was all. Some apologies are not meant to fix things. They are meant to acknowledge what cannot be undone. Life settled into a new rhythm. Mornings with tea. Afternoons with walks. Evenings with quiet conversations. George passed away one night in early spring. Peacefully, they said. I attended the small service they held in the common room. No family came for him. Just us. I realized then how thin the line is between being remembered and being missed. That night I wrote a letter. Not to Alex. Not to Anna. To myself. I wrote about the house I once lived in. The kitchen window. The sound of footsteps on the stairs. The envelope I never opened. I wrote about what it feels like to be slowly removed, not by cruelty but by convenience. And I wrote about what I had learned. That love without courage is fragile. That silence can be louder than anger. And that dignity does not come from being needed. It comes from knowing who you are when you are no longer chosen. Weeks later, Alex came with a question. "Would you ever want to come back?" he asked. I looked at him for a long time. "No," I said. He nodded, tears in his eyes. "I understand," he whispered. And for the first time, I believed him. One afternoon, I sat in the garden with the small plant Anna had brought. It had grown slightly. A new leaf had appeared. Life even here found a way. A nurse walked past and smiled. "You look peaceful," she said. "I am," I replied. Because peace is not the absence of pain. It is the absence of pretending. As spring turned to summer, I thought often about mothers like me. Women who gave their years quietly. Who believed love would protect them forever. Some were protected. Some were not. But all of us deserve to be seen. If there is one thing I want you to remember from my story, it is this. People do not always leave you by walking away. Sometimes they leave you by standing still while life moves you elsewhere. And if you are the one doing the choosing, choose carefully. Because one day, silence may answer you back. I am Bella. I was a mother who was sent away. But I am also a woman who learned how to remain whole. Even in the quiet,